Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hern is a member of the Border Security Caucus, and he joins National Report Live. Congressman, thank you for your time, and I imagine you have your thoughts on that statement there by Ian Sams. I'll have you respond if you can, please, sir.
Yeah, I've been to the border several times, and it's a disaster what's happened. We thought it was really bad in 2019, and we saw declining numbers then. But since 2021, we've seen almost 5 million people cross the southern border that we know about. Another some 700,000 that are gotaways, which is twice or about 50% more than the population of my entire state of Oklahoma. And that's just in 24 months. It's really a shame to what's going on. And under the Trump policies, we saw rapidly declining numbers down into 20,000s per month. What we saw in December was a record high of 251,000 that crossed. Fentanyl is killing, our number one killer of our 18 to 45-year-old Americans, some 100,000 deaths per year since this president's been in office. It's typical of him. He doesn't want to go see the problem, so therefore he blames us for wanting to understand the problem and all of our members. This president needs to get out of the White House and start doing his job.
I want to show these numbers to you if I can. These border encounters that we're seeing now from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency putting this out that we've seen more than 156,000 migrant encounters. That's in January. It is down from December. So we'll continue to, again, there it is on your screen there, but we continue to see these numbers pour in. And when you tally these up, yeah, they are quite large, some adding up to more than multiple states within the United States of America in terms of population. How does this affect Oklahoma? And is this really a partisan issue at this point?
Well, first of all, I agree we need to come together and solve this. But what we don't need to be doing is seeing a White House undo the policies that we're working at the southern border and making sure that we don't have members of the Democrat Party wanting to defund the deterrents that we have, which are ICE and return to Mexico policies, and the whole issue with Title 42. So as we're looking at some of these issues going forward, you look at Oklahoma, we're on the I-35 corridor, which is the direct south to north beltway, if you will, to get fentanyl across the United States of America. And this is something that's really tragic that this president won't acknowledge that what's going on is simply not working. Back last February, called for Secretary Mayorkas to resign because he wasn't doing his job. This is somebody that's been around the border since 2005. And then last fall, we called for his impeachment, and you've seen that happen under the Republican Party. We have to start somewhere. Somebody has to be held accountable to change the direction of the border security. And that was the Biden administration just 24 months ago. Mm-hmm. And so Oklahomans are concerned about the fentanyl overdoses. I've talked to the sheriff's department, the highway patrol, the city police. It's incredible what's going on across this country.
Talking about what's happening in this country, this conversation that we're having would not be seen if one of the viewers has DirecTV. They pulled Newsmax from their platform, making it obviously difficult unless they're able to switch to another platform to even get this conversation about fentanyl, about the border crisis, what we had in East Palestine a moment ago, to get this into households. Your thoughts on this as DirecTV has chosen to drop Newsmax? Have you heard from constituents about this who perhaps are upset about that?
It's probably one of the number one calls we've gotten over the last 3 weeks. It's certainly a grave concern in a very conservative district. It's very hard to get the conservative message out anyway. But when we have great networks like yourself doing that and getting it out, and then to see it basically shut off is very concerning. We're seeing right now the House Judiciary, led by Jim Jordan, subpoena the big tech companies to look at their collusion with Twitter and others back, prior to us getting in the majority. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of information that's going to make all Americans concerned, regardless if you're Republican or Democrat, that the government, the federal government, has the ability to shut down, and big tech companies have to shut down the voice of Americans. And just to hear one side, this is exactly how you radicalize America. You control the healthcare, you control the education, then you control the message. And we got to be greatly concerned about that.
Well, the House clearly is. Jim Jordan, the Judiciary Chairman, subpoenaed, as you mentioned, subpoenaing the chief executives of Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Google. Major moment, a major news moment that dropped yesterday. We'll continue to follow that and all the good work that you're doing as well. Congressman Kevin Hern joining us live of Oklahoma. Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks for having me.
anytime.